Ellie, thank you so much for coming on the Almost There show. How are
Sure.
you today?
I'm very
Thank
good,
you.
thank you. How are you?
I'm well, I'm well. I mean, the sun is out. It's absolutely lovely, so I'm
Exactly.
happy. So, just to introduce you to everyone those who do not know, so you are a British screen actor and commercial actor and model.
Yeah, that's
And
correct.
I've actually, amazing. So, I've actually watched your short film, The Haunting of Valentina, and oh my gosh, it was amazing.
Oh, thank
Oh, I
you.
absolutely loved it. Oh my gosh. The storyline, the acting, the cinematography, I'm not surprised. I've heard that it won an award
It did,
at
yeah,
a
Best
film
International
festival.
Short Film at the 21117 Festival. Yeah, 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 it was great making that.
So how did you feel when you found out that that your film won the award?
I think really, really excited because it's so hard. There's so many film festivals. There's obviously a lot of people entering, so to get the recognition is really important for the whole team. I think that's really important. And I always say, it's not one person that makes a film. One person can't make a film. It's a whole team involved in that, and the whole team were just fantastic.
Right, right. It's good to hear that your experience was enjoyable. How did you get the opportunity? Because I know I've taken a scroll through your social medias, and I know you started with commercial wedding shoots, which look fab. And so yeah, so I was wondering, it's amazing to see your progression as time goes on. But yeah, I was wondering how you went from commercial photo shoots to modeling to starring in this amazing short film.
Okay, yeah, so that was 6 years ago. I'd always wanted to do modelling and acting, so I just decided
Okay.
to take a shot at it and see what happened. So I did some sort of photo shoots just to get started, portfolio stuff, and then I kind of moved into the commercial side. And the wedding work was what we call TFP, so time for print. And it was a group of local wedding suppliers that wanted to come together and put together wedding shoots to advertise everybody's services. So no one got paid, but everybody got the photos for their portfolios. So like the florist and the dressmaker and everybody. And I just really enjoyed doing those. Really enjoyed the lifestyle side. And then alongside that, I'd always wanted to be in a music video. So I was like, right, I'm gonna carry on doing these things I've always wanted to do because I've started a bit later in life. And I starred in my first music video, and I was like, yep. And I want to be a supporting artist. I wanted to do that. So all these things I wanted to do years ago, I just set about deciding, how do I do it? Who do I speak to? What have I got to do to be able to get into it? Started doing the supporting artist work, and then someone asked if I would do an acting role in a commercial that I did, and I thought, yeah, I'd like to do that too. And so I sort of did that, and then sort of it led in quite naturally from the sort of modelling and acting really go hand in hand together. I mean, because when you're doing shoots, you might be in the freezing cold, on your wedding, that's the happiest day of your life. So you're still acting and bringing that part to it as well. And then, yes, I just sort of built my portfolio up, started doing some little acting pieces, and then applied for the job in The Haunting of Valentina. I thought, oh, that script just spoke to me, the script, and I thought this is lovely. And the writer and director and the whole team were absolutely fantastic on that, and just really loved it.
I was so impressed with the film. I think it should go on Netflix. I think it was that good.
Oh, thank
Yeah. Yeah, but I do know I do know that quite a few actors started off in modeling, which is quite interesting. So, how do you think your modeling kind of career, because you went from, I believe you said you went from modeling to commercials to to acting in, I guess, feature films
yes,
and
and
so on and
short
so
films
forth,
as well.
and short films. So, how do you think starting off in modeling helped you with your acting in short films and feature films?
So I think the first thing is about being on set, because obviously being in acting, you're going to be either on stage if it's stage or set. And I think that just really helped, having a production team around me, knowing how stuff worked, knowing the angles, the way they sort of shoot things. So then it was a natural progression then onto set. And then when I was doing the supporting artist work, just to sort of get started with it, and something I'd always wanted to do, that's good just to so you can get an idea of how a set runs. That's really important. You know, you may not want to continue in that vein. You may want to go into the acting, sort of lead acting, which is what I'm doing now. But it's good just to get a little bit of experience on set and just see how things run and if it's what you want to do. Because ultimately it's very long days and it's a lot of work, but it's a brilliant product at the end. So I think that was really useful to help with that.
So, what motivated you to go into acting in the first place? Was there kind of a time in your life where you just kind of woke up and said, "Oh, I want to be an actor," or was it kind of a process?
So I'd always wanted to do acting. I did it at school, and I would have done it after I left school. But when I left school, I went to work and did my NVQs and worked my way up. And then we had a property, we had a mortgage at 19. So kind of my 20s was doing all the sort of adult stuff. And then when I was 22, I tried to get back into it. And I thought I'll have a go, but this was back in like 2004, and there was no sort of social media and stuff then. And I thought I could do this, but I have to work full time as well, and I just didn't have the opportunity. So it sort of sat on the back burner, you know, thought never to be seen again. And then in 2019, I decided I want to start doing things that I've always wanted to do, you know, and I thought, right, I'm going to give it a go. Because I thought, why not? Because I thought if it doesn't work, I can continue doing what I was doing, and that was working with young people. I've got quite an extensive career of working with young people in different settings, and I've worked in offices. I've done lots of different things, so I've got quite rounded experience to bring to it. And I just thought, let's have a go, you know, because you never know. And I'm not a what if. I'm not a what if. I'm a go get it girl, and I'm going to try, you know, because I don't want the what ifs. I want to know. And yeah, so I just tried, and stuff just sort of happened. You know, I'd go into shops for stuff for modelling, and normally, you know, you go and look for a pair of trousers and you can't find them. And I'd go in and there'd just be racks of stuff. And it was like, this is the right time now. So it was the right time. It might not have been the right, I mean, I wanted to do it all those years ago, but it wasn't the right time then. And then eventually it was. And I just thought I'm going to run with it. Because, like I say, I'm a bit like a dog with a bone. I'm not going to give up. And that's really important in this industry as well.
That's so inspiring. It's very inspiring. Thank you for sharing that. So, in terms of the short horror film, The Haunting of Valentina,
Yeah.
how did you get this opportunity?
So
How
that
did
was,
you find out about it?
yeah, that was through one of the local casting sites that I apply on. And I put together a profile on there of all the previous work I'd done. And then the role came and I just applied for it. And I think it was a reshoot. I think they'd shot the film but couldn't complete it, or there were some issues beforehand. So the film was reshot, and some people were recast in it, I think, because they were unable to do it, unfortunately, because they had to reshoot. And yeah, I just took the chance, and it was just fantastic. And so the writer and director and River Lake Film Productions that shot it, they were just absolutely a fantastic team to work with. And the nice thing about it is everyone's so committed. You know, in this line of work, creative, it's just everyone has to work so hard to produce. Obviously, you know, acting's not easy, and producing films, TV, etc. And everyone has to work so hard, and you just pull together because everyone's doing the best they can in their areas. So the directing, you know, the writing, the acting, and it just feels like a lovely team.
In terms of the preparation, it's a short horror, right? So it's a thriller movie.
Yeah.
How did you prepare for the role? Was there some kind of, this might be kind of glitch, was there some kind of ritual, or what did the preparation look like?
Yeah, so for me, the preparation, I prepare quite a lot, to be honest, and sort of going through my scripts and stuff. And all my preparation from the start of my acting, because you kind of find your own way. People say, oh, do you do that method? Do you do this method? Or they'll probably look at my work and say, oh, she's definitely doing that method. But what I did is I did formal acting training, and then I would just be reading all different articles on different websites and casting sites and pulling all my own information that I thought would help me together. So I kind of have my own little sort of roadmap. I'm not saying it's the correct roadmap how to prepare, but it's the little bits that I've taken a piece of that and I've taken a piece of that and that I work from. And then it's really getting to grips with the character, you know, so it's understanding that character because they say don't just play the character, be the character because you are that person. You have to know their life. You want to know their life inside out. You know, you need to know where they went to school, you know, where they grew up, their friendship group, what they would be doing on a Friday night, where you would find them on a Friday night. You need to know that character inside out to be able to appreciate their life. So, and I think horror and thriller, it's also difficult because there's that element of being scared as well, and that can be quite difficult to portray. I mean, acting, is tricky anyway, but to portray that well, I think it's very difficult. So, when you're scared, you've got to, I've read things before that have said you've got to go on that journey with the audience and they will go with you. That's really important because that person doesn't know they're in a horror film. That person's a character, you know. So what they're seeing for the first time, and you've got to be able to show that. That's so important.
In terms of researching, did you look to any other horror or thriller films as inspiration?
I mean, I love horror and thriller anyway. So, I'm always sort of watching horrors and thrillers. So I had a pretty good idea of it. And that's the other thing about this line of work. Um, it can kind of ruin your viewing pleasure of films because the thing is, you watch for entertainment, but you're also watching for research. So now, when I sit, on a Friday night watching films, I'm thinking, oh, I just need to relax from work. It's been busy. And then I'm there like, oh, that's not right. Oh, well, that wasn't there. Oh, actually, no, yeah, she, and you sort of start to analyze, and you don't even mean to analyze. So it's just picking things up, and I watch films now. I have to imagine that would be me doing that role, and how is that actor acting, and what are they doing? So I think by osmosis, I've kind of picked up because I'm sort of surrounded by it, in my work day and also, into watching films and TV as well. I'm kind of immersed in it, and I think that actually helps, definitely.
Yeah. I think it's interesting how, as you were saying, acting kind of changes your psyche. So how
Yeah.
you look at things and how you view the world and people.
Yes,
But yeah,
definitely.
I did want to ask, where in the UK are you from? Are you based, so you're based in London, I presume, or
So I have a couple of different bases. I'm now in Northwest Leicestershire, but I do have a
okay,
property and bases in London as well. So I'm sort of working across the country now. But I've been all around. So I was born in Northampton, lived in Rugby and
okay,
Warwickshire, then went to Bedfordshire to be closer to London, then came back to Northwest Leicestershire. So for
right,
my final moves, I've kind of moved all around. But I work, wherever the work is anyway. Yeah, I will be there.
okay. And do you think it's helped you having that kind of experience in so many different places around the UK?
Yes, I do. I do actually. And also, I think um, the work I've done before has also helped me. Obviously, it's completely different roles, but I've worked in schools, I've worked with young people for a long time. So it gives me a quite rounded approach, and it's good at knowing about sort of other people's lives and how people work, and because all that's important, because when you're portraying characters, you just need to look at the world basically, and see how people go about their day and what they do. And I think, yeah, all of that can sort of feed in, when you're trying to put those characters together.
Yeah. And I did want to ask, because you said that you officially kind of started acting in feature short films in 2019, I believe, was it?
So 2019 January was when I had my first photo shoot, and then in
Okay,
February 2019 was when I decided to change my career and
right.
have a go. Yeah, so I literally started from scratch in February 2019.
And what was going through your mind at that time?
It was scary because it's like putting yourself and your work out there because I had to sort of say you have to make that leap, like you have to just go, right, well, let's see. And it was scary because it's quite vulnerable to sort of put yourself out there and say, you want to work with me or not? You know, like here's my little bit of work I've done. And of course, everyone, you have to get your portfolio together because everybody's saying, well, what have you done? Because unless people are starting out too, they want to see what you've done, to see if they want to work with you. And yeah, it felt quite scary in the beginning just to jump into it like that, especially I was coming in a little bit older. So yeah, but you've just got to take that risk and you have to take that leap because you don't get anywhere without taking risks. And it was a calculated risk as well. I thought if this doesn't work, I can go back to doing what I did before. But you've got to have that confidence to say, I'm going to try.
Thank you. That's very inspiring. So in 2020, we had COVID and lockdown began. how did that impact you? Because you started in February 2019, and then a year later we had COVID.
That's right, we did, yeah. So in terms of my modelling, because I really hit the ground running in 2019, I was doing quite a bit of work, sort of one shoot after the next. So luckily, when COVID hit, I still had a lot of work being released and coming out. So there was a little bit whilst we were waiting for it to come out, and I could sort of advertise that work. But it was only really the first 3 months where there was nothing, like when everybody was locked down, that sort of March to June time. And I got on doing all my notes, and I was telling you all about all my acting sort of notes and stuff. I started putting all that together and plans because I like lists. I'm a lists girl. I'm an organised girl. So I started making lists of all the stuff I needed to do. But by June, we were all actually shooting again, because it was albeit with testing, but we were allowed on set. So from June onwards, production had already begun because obviously they needed to be making TV and films and stuff still. So it was just all with testing after that on set. And then, yeah, so it was only the 3 months really that I was at home. But as I say, I wasn't baking banana bread. I don't like baking actually. So I don't like cooking very much, but I like eating. But yeah, so I wasn't doing the banana bread. I was making lists of, right, what do I do? And I've got like little lists I do after a shoot and things. Just, yeah, because I live by lists and reminders and stuff for me. So yeah, I definitely wasn't twiddling my thumbs.
Yeah, and I really applaud you for powering through that time. Yeah, and the in 2024,
Yeah,
the documentary, the true crime documentary, How to Kill Your Husband,
oh
was
yeah.
released. Yeah, on Channel 5. So
Yes.
could you tell us a bit about that documentary?
Yeah,
What
so
was it about?
it was about a case which happened, I think, 10 or 15 years ago. It was a real case. And in fact, I sort of briefly remember some details about it. About, yeah, somebody tried to poison her husband with spaghetti bolognese. So it
Oh
was,
wow.
yeah, it was like, oh, but that was really good. To do the true crime stuff was good because although there was no speaking in it, because it was, like when you have the true crime stuff in the background, they're giving all of the interviews and talking about how things happened. But again, it's just lovely being on set with everybody. To get back on set was really good, and to do some TV as opposed to sort of films that I've been doing as well. And yeah, I really loved it. Yeah, I really loved everybody on set. Was lovely. We're still keeping in touch. And yeah, just a lovely experience to do that. Yeah.
That's great. And I can imagine, was it quite difficult as well because it's quite a story. It's and it's a true story, right?
It is, yeah. So
So
10, 15 years ago or something, the case was in court. Yeah.
reenacting this story, how was that for you?
I think it gives another element. So obviously, acting's you've got to be able to sort of do it and really get into it. But when you're portraying someone in real life, I think that's even harder because you want to make sure that you're, what's the word, sort of being understanding to that person, and you know what I mean, sort of portraying them uh, as they would have been. Because this wasn't just a little sketch. This was actually someone's life, and this was what happened. So the acts that we were portraying were what happened in those people's lives. So it just gives another level. It just gives another layer to make sure that you're sort of being, yeah, honest and natural and doing it as it should have been done for that person, really. So it can be hard.
So this was a huge production. What was it like for you on set? What did you learn from it? Was there anything that surprised you?
Um, I don't think so. Not no, because I'd been like sort of on some bigger sets as well, so I was used to all of that. Um, and TV, I mean, film and TV run very similar. You've still got the long days and everything sort of runs similar, really. But yeah, it was just different to me to play a real life person because, as I say, that was the first time I'd done that, as opposed to sort of working in films and other stuff. And it was just, I was very grateful. I mean, I'm grateful for any job I get. The thing is, it's a difficult industry, as we all know. So for anybody that gives me a chance to be in their film, um, I'm just very grateful because they're trusting me with that, trusting me with the role, especially lead roles. I've got a couple of lead roles coming up as well, and you've got to do the best you can for that. So yeah, I'm just grateful. I'm always grateful, and I want to help other people as well. We're all in this together, and there's plenty of work for everybody. And yeah, I just want to help other people to climb that ladder too.
What's the end goal for you? Because I know a lot of British actors head to Hollywood. What would, do you ever see yourself going to Hollywood or?
I mean, I'd love to. Yeah, definitely. Yeah, like the main thing about this is doing the work is the main thing. And I think when you're creative, I didn't realize that you would have like this need to create, like almost, and if you don't create for a while, you feel like you're sort of gonna, it's like bursting to get out that creativity. So it's about telling stories, it's about getting stories out there, films out there to everybody. But of course, to go, yeah, to Hollywood would be amazing, to be able to do some work out there. And yeah, that would be a lovely goal. Yeah, definitely. But I know there's a lot of people trying to do that as well. So yeah, I'm just gonna keep trying and keep, picking these stories to be able to help tell and be a part of this big machine that is the business of making films and TV. Because that's what I absolutely love, and it's taken me a long time to get into it. So now I'm here. I don't intend on leaving. I want to stay definitely in this field.
Yeah, and I hope to see you more on our screens.
Oh, thank you.
So where do you think this creative part of you, when do you think it was kind of born? Were you a creative child or?
Um, It's funny, I wasn't particularly, but actually what was quite funny is my mum used to say that when I was little, when I was about 3 or 4, I used to act out adverts, which is ironic now, isn't it? So I'd make my mum and dad sit and watch me sort of acting out the toothpaste ads that had just been on, which I think is quite funny. So maybe I didn't realise, but somewhere, that spark was already there, because that's quite a funny thing to do. It's sort of people put on shows, don't they? Like little kids will put on shows, but to act out the local commercials. And back in the day, then there weren't that many products. So if we sort of say about commercials now, a lot of people will remember them and say, "Yeah, I remember that one too." So I think that's quite funny that I did that. So yeah, maybe there was a spark somewhere in there. And like I said, I'd always wanted to do it, but I kind of put it on the back burner and got on with life as you do. And then ended up coming back to it. Yeah, in a sort of roundabout way, just ended up sort of doing it really. So, and I'm really pleased for that because I thought that was it, and I thought, well, I just have to forget about that because I've got on with life and I'm adulting now, and doing all that. So to be able to get the chance to do it is great. And also it's good to have some sort of older actors as well, because obviously you need actors of all different ages for different roles as well, which is brilliant. So yeah, I'm just pleased to have finally got there, to be honest.
Are you able to tell us about any of your upcoming projects? Are you able to share any details or?
So I've got a couple of short films. I can't show details of those just yet, but as soon as I can, I'll put them on my socials. So it's two short films I'm doing, one of which I'm part producing, so leading both, but part producing one of them. So yeah, I'm sort of just getting on with that at the moment, just getting bits down on paper and plans and stuff for that. But as soon as I can release anything, I'll pop those on my socials as well. But they'll both be good films. One's a very different sort of arty film, and another one deals with social issues that will hopefully help people. And yeah, I'm hoping that they'll be well received. But that will be in the sort of next probably sort of 3 4 months that we'll be getting those out. But yeah, just great to be a part of them again, that someone's given me the chance to work with them.
How are you finding producing so far? Because I know it's a bit, um, there's a lot of paperwork involved and logistics, and so how are you
Yeah,
finding it?
it's hard to fit everything around everything at the minute, and I'm doing a big home renovation as well, so it's kind of pieces of time for everything at the moment. So I'm trying to carve out my time that, you know, between these hours I sit down and I do my work, because otherwise everything can just the time can just run away with you. And that's one thing I would say to people as well to help them with this. Make sure that you carve out time to do your work. Obviously people are doing different jobs as well, but if you want to do this, make sure that you carve out a little bit of time where it's for you, whether it's for applying for jobs or updating platforms or whatever you want to do. but carve out your little piece of time because the time can run away with you. And then there's all these different deadlines, and of course, the things that weren't urgent suddenly become urgent. So it's trying to sort of juggle all of that. Um, but yeah, it's I'm just sort of dipping my toe in at the minute because it is a short. This one is a very short film that I'm helping to produce. But it's nice to get involved with the casting, and it's nice, because I spend a lot of time writing to people, when I'm applying for stuff. And it's really nice to be on the other side. I have done castings when I did the wedding shoots. I did some casting for grooms as well, so I have done that. But it's nice to be on the other side because when they're telling you their stories and sending their links, I know how they feel. So it's really nice to be able to help people and yeah, be on the other side of that as well.
If you had one piece of advice to give to an upcoming actor who's just started their career, what would it be?
I think the main thing would be, piece of advice would be, I'd say first of all, you're not alone. So this can feel like quite a lonely job, when you're sitting at home applying for jobs, waiting for the next thing to come in. You think you're the only one in the world doing it, and you forget that there's so many other people trying to do the same thing. So I would say definitely make sure that you join some local groups. So find in your area networking groups. There'll be plenty of, if you're into film and TV, there'll be film and TV networking groups in your area because then you're going to be with like-minded people, even if it's once a month, I don't know, once every 2 weeks, once a quarter. Make sure you see these people because then you can all create together. You need to do your networking because you can apply for all the jobs and stuff as well. And you will some of those jobs you will get, obviously some you won't. It's about don't get disheartened because if we went for a job, any job like in a hotel or anywhere, we wouldn't all expect to get every job we applied for. But in acting, people expect to get every job, but you forget there's hundreds and hundreds of people going for it. So there will be jobs you will be absolutely fantastic for, and you will get them. But you have to keep going, and it's not just applying for jobs. You've got to do your networking. So if I can give anybody advice from the last 6 years, it's to network. It's to get out, it's to do those small films, it's to help the new filmmakers that are out there as well, because you're all going to help each other and you will have your people. It sounds funny, your people, but you know what I mean? I mean, finding the groups of people that you're all like minded together so that you're not doing it on your own and don't give up, just keep going. But you need also the fire in your belly. No one's going to do it for you. Yeah, really, no one's going to do it for you. If you want that, you have to go out and do it. And like I say, even if you say, I'm going to spend 3 hours a day or I'm going to spend 3 hours a week on my work and my acting, do that because it's not going to fall in your lap. You don't apply to agents and sit back, tea and toast, and the jobs fall in and roll in. It doesn't happen like that. So be realistic, but find your networking groups because you're not on your own.
It's been wonderful having you on the show,
Oh, thank you so
and
much.
I wish you all the best in
Thank you.
on your projects this year. And I'm sure that, the people watching will take on so much
Oh, I hope so.
knowledge from your
Oh,
experiences. So thank you and your journey. Thank
thank you
you.
so much, and best of luck with all of the rest of your podcast.
Thank you so much.